Private Matt Morris served in the military for 6 years.
I was really happy, and I just enjoyed my job, really, I suppose. I had a good camaraderie between the guys. There was a lot of us who kind of formed, I know, a bit of a sort of cliche to say, but it's a bit like a sort of band of brothers, I suppose, and we all were very close. We were an armoured infantry battalion, so we'd sort of go into buildings and sort of take out whoever was in there, basically. On a daily basis, you've seen things which, were horrendous, I lost some very good friends out there as well, so that's another thing. There's an element of guilt then that kind of, how did they kind of, that happened to them and it didn't kind of happen to me,
At the beginning of 2004, Matt completed his final tour and left the military to start a life and family with his girlfriend Sarah, who's since become his wife.
I felt fine, everything was kind of hunky-dory, and found a job back in the UK. Only then I kind of seen, I was in Kuala Lumpur in a hotel room and I just had like a massive panic attack. At the time you don't know what it is, you just think you're going bonkers, you just think, what's happening to me, I was fine yesterday and now I'm like this today, it doesn't make sense.
He struggles so much, and he's missing out on the most special years of his life with his children being so young, and I just really wish that, he doesn't look back in years to come and just think, what a wasted time.
PTSD does just drag you down, and then you lose your self-confidence, you lose your self-belief, you just, because there's stupid, silly things like getting on a plane, like you think, I can't get a plane, what I mean? And it's so demoralising, it kind of knocks you down, you think, well, how easy is that just to get on a plane? It's not rocket science, I just don't have any confidence anymore, do you know what I mean? I think that I've kind of been beaten down and down and down with challenges I've faced, and then because you kind of feel like you're failing at them challenges, you're just down, sort of down on the bottom, I suppose. You don't think you've got to climb up back of that black hole, I suppose.
Knowing that, 10, 11 years ago, you left the army, you're still on duty, because what you've said to us is that every day you're scanning, you're on guard, you're alert, you're looking for exits, you're looking around you. So you've actually
never left.
How does you fight an internal battle every day with anxiety? How is that helping anyone anyway?
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. The people who have been closest to me, like over the years, have kind of, something's happened all the time, that I'm always feel like I'm on edge, as if the people that are close to me now, as if something's going to happen to them as well.
That's it.
So then I put up like a barrier.
It's not like this is your family and you've got a barrier around all of them. The barrier's around you. So you're pushing your family away.
Yeah.
Your best friends that were killed because they'll say situations that dangerous, no anxiety. You've now got a lovely wife, 2 children, great job, great life. And you've got anxiety. How is that dangerous?
I have no idea.
You need to let it go. And it is your choice.
Desperate for answers, Matt's wife Sarah wrote to the Speakmans asking for their help, and all 4 of them join us on the sofa now. Just to praise the tail end of your letter that you wrote, you said, "This is affecting our lives so much, and after watching your programme, I sincerely reach out to you for your help. My husband has not been the same for a long time. If you could help us, that would be amazing." You were at your wit's end, weren't you?
Yeah.
In what way was it affecting the family and you?
He just completely disappeared from the person that I'd met. He was short-tempered with the kids, and he's an amazing dad, so I knew that it's not because he didn't love them, it's just, he just had such a short fuse that anything would set him off, and he was just constantly walking on eggshells around him.
And you just felt completely trapped.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like there's only 20% of you is actually there, and the other 80 is fighting a battle, which is
completely different to kind of what's going on. Really.
You describe it as juggling anxiety.
Yeah,
balls
absolutely.
in the back of your head.
Yeah, absolutely. Is you could be in a situation where you should just be having a standard conversation with someone, but ultimately you would be kind of concentrating on something else separately, and I think juggling is probably the easiest way to explain that, really.
And did you just feel that, well, this is part of it, this is what's happened to me, this is my life now, and this is just how I'm going to have to function?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I did actually kind of resign myself to the fact that, yeah, this is life, and this is the way it's going to be, and end of.
And then he said the words to you which really start ringing alarm bells, because you're all attempting to cope with this and work your way through. I don't feel like being here. And those are scary things for someone to say.
Yeah, I feel choked just thinking about it. Like, if he'd leave the house and then he wouldn't answer his phone, I'd just be panicking, thinking, where's he gone? What's he done? Is he going to do something silly, you know? So it's frightening.
You're just all living in fear.
So you describe this, working with Matt, you describe this as it's like this emotional onion. You have to peel back all the layers.
That's right. I mean, it's basically peeling all that back and then actually putting it into perspective. And I'm so pleased that Sarah actually contacted us, because one thing as men we're taught that just get on with things, you know, don't be weak. And that's what Matt said to us. He said, you know, I feel weak asking for help, and that should never ever be the case. So if anyone's partner sees that, then, you know, you need to get help.
But how so? Because there'll be a lot of people watching this thinking, yeah, but you can't unsee those things that you've seen there. You're not going to bring back his friends that he lost there. So how can you move on from this?
Because I think with Matt, you're absolutely right, Holly, first of all. You can't undo what you've seen, but you can undo your perception of what actually happened.
And the emotions that are attached to it.
And with his friend, he felt massive guilt because he'd left the army and he lost some of his friends when he left, and he took entire responsibility for that. However, you know, had it been role reversed and his friends would have left and something would have happened to Matt, he would have never blamed his friends. And it was helping him to see things from a different perspective and understand, like Nick said, it's looking at all the things that are troubling him, peeling those sort of layers away until we find the Matt underneath, and let him come forward and take this barrier down.
I showed you this morning a correspondence that I'd been sent by someone who was very, very similar to you, and had thought that without their daughter they might be in a position to take their own life, and that's how so many ex-servicemen and ex-servicewomen feel. So what do you say to them now? Because every case is unique, and the things that you get echoing and looping in your head are different in everybody. What do you say to them?
It can never be that bad, and you know, there's always help out there, and there's always someone willing to listen. And you know, it's not the bulk of the thing that we find in that situation is guilt. You know, feeling guilt for the things that you didn't do, the things that you could have done, and that guilt is often misguided. It was the same with Matt's point of view. Matt, you felt so guilty, didn't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
But the question is, did you always do your very best in that moment when you were out there? And invariably it's always, yes, I did do my very best. And therefore that does actually give a release, accepting that, you know, I can't change anything that happened.
Well, reordering your head, which is what you've done, reordering your thoughts, it has had a profound effect on you. You've got him back.
Yeah.
And how have you been? How do you feel now?
Yeah, I feel absolutely. I feel cured for starters, and I feel sort of starting a new chapter in my life. I can kind of start progressing. Anxiety and sort of PTSD does hold you back so much, and for what Nick and Eva have done, such an amazing job, which didn't really take that long to do.
Well, we've got proof. Confined spaces.
Absolutely.
Confined spaces were a major problem. Here's a little clip.
Have you got any anxiety, Matt? Sweaty palms, heart racing?
My hands are fine. Yeah.
Do you want to give it a go then?
Absolutely.
So you're actually in the tank with the lid down. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feel absolutely fine. I'm not even bothered anymore. Just the thought of being in here would have ragged me before, but now I feel absolutely fine.
One of the other major problems was getting on a plane, and we put you on a plane. You cope with that incredibly well, had no problem at all. Actually spent most of the time trying to calm down our cameraman, who is actually frightened of flying.
Exactly, yeah, absolutely.
He's worse than you.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And also, you took the boys to a firework display at the weekend, and
We did, yeah.
normally those sort of loud noises would be putting you on alert, but there you are, enjoying the things that you should be doing as a father. And I wanted to ask you, I said to you earlier that you saw no way out from this, so there's going to be people watching this that are going to see you as a huge inspiration. What would you say to them if they are living back where you were before you saw the Speakmans? What would you say?
There is help out there, and obviously with the likes of Nick and Eva, they can change your life, basically. Like what Nick just said, don't give up. You know, you've been through so much, and, you know, just never give up, really.
Nick and Eva are here now, alongside ex-serviceman Matt Morris, who's also gained a newfound confidence and happiness since working with the pair on the show that we did. Actually, it was about a month ago. So welcome all of you.
Thank you.
Good to see you too. I'm going to start your story with a letter. And this is the letter that we got here from Sarah, your wife. Matt has served many years in the Middle East, seen things that have simply changed him as a person. He lost 2 of his best friends during the initial Iraq conflict. As a result of this, he's now suffering with severe PTSD. This is affecting our lives so much, and after watching your programme, I sincerely reach out to you for help. And that was then, and this is now, because you got to the stage where you actually said, you know, those trigger words, the alarm bells rang, I don't really want to be here anymore. Yeah. And that's how you felt, wasn't
Absolutely,
it?
yeah. And I think there's so many guys out there that actually feel that way now. I mean, after the show, I kind of had so many phone calls of kind of mates and friends of friends saying that, you know, God, that's exactly how I feel, you know, and
not also feeling like that and not believing there was anything that was you could do to change that.
Absolutely.
And yet here we are a month down the line. So how are you feeling now?
I feel like a different person completely. You know, to be honest, like, I spoke to Nick the other day on the phone, and Nick said, so, what about how are you feeling with this anxiety stuff? And I said, you know what, until you asked me, I completely didn't even think about it. Yeah. You know, it's like as if you don't, like, you know, you asked me a question and I had to think about the answer, whereas before that would have always just been on my mind. It was there. It was just, it was, you know, it was a wall.
If Sarah hadn't asked for help, would you have asked for help?
I doubt I would have, to be honest, and I've spoke to a lot of my friends about it, and it's kind of a military ethos whereby you're kind of trained to be sort of a hard, robust kind of individual, and you put up a wall, and ultimately, you know, we don't ask for help, you know. But it is really important that, you know, the guys start asking for help.
Seeking help
has
transformed the person that you were.
Yes, it is, yeah. And that's thanks to my wife, you know, ultimately. But, you know, and I think there's a lot of guys out there, the wives ultimately will be the people that step forward and kind of say that, you know, my husband's got an issue. But it's not a bad thing to actually put your name forward and say, yeah, I've got an issue, you know.
To you two, you don't have to live with post-traumatic stress, do you? And I think that's the common myth, really, that you just deal with it, you cope with it, you get on. It can go.
It can, and this is what's been so wonderful about this that we've been working on since September. I mean, if we look at Mo, for example, 35 years, because so many people think, well, I've suffered for so many years, I'll never get over it. And Mo is proof that you can, and also Matt, you know, has given so many people hope, because you can get over PTSD. I don't deny that, you know, it might take a while. You may need to see a number of therapists, but we would urge anybody who feels that they've tried everything, don't give up hope, keep trying.
So don't say it hasn't been fixed, because it just hasn't been fixed yet.
Yeah, that's the really, really key thing. And, you know, you can get over PTSD.
Now, the thing is with you guys is, I mean, there's only 2 of you. And we've seen the incredible work that you do in all sorts of different fields. So if someone can't get in touch with you, then where do you recommend they go?
So I'm taking over. There's numerous charities available. I mean, the first port of call is always go and see your GP, and your GP will be able to assist and offer forms of counselling, etc. Through your GP. However, there's lots of fantastic charities that offer support groups. They offer free counselling. So you know, there's so many avenues available. Like I say, just don't give up hope. Speak about it. Don't keep it to yourself. Because like Matt said, he put this wall up, and that made it a lot worse. It was like bubbling up inside him.
think that's typical for any serviceman, that, you know, just be strong and get on with it. And one of the things that Matt agreed with is that as a serviceman, you look at other soldiers and think, they're all right, they're getting on with it, it must be me, but not realising that they've got the same problem.
Underneath,
that's right, you know,
the same way.
And no one should be embarrassed asking for help.